Welcome back for Session 2 here at Global Time Attack and the world-famous Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. If you've missed anything that's happened so far this weekend, be it today or yesterday, make sure to check out the YouTube page. You can see everything and every lap time that we have posted this weekend. Also, check out racehero.io or the Race Hero app on your Apple or Android device to be able to see not only the time set today, overall provisional lap times. If you had it up right now, you would actually see that Faris Khartoumi has done a 1:18.801, resetting the track overall record. We also had a small incident at the end of the session, and anyone who's following us now, I wanted to get you up to date. Eric Fleming did have a spin going into 10. There was a little bit of confusion on track. He was trying to avoid an incident, did an amazing job of it, but he did tag his left rear on a concrete wall. He's going to have to be helped back onto the trailer. It's great to see that he's good, he's safe. It's sad to see we won't see him back on track, but the most important thing for us is that he's able to come back another day. We do have Group 3, Session 2 getting ready to go out. That is Group 3, Session 2. If you're trying to see where these drivers are, once again, check the Race Hero app. Now, there is a driver that we see here every year at Road Atlanta that you have not seen on track, and sad to say, he did something that we all hate to see. He broke in practice. His name is Sean Bassett. He races for Attacking the Clock Racing. You know him with his carbon body Datsun 240 that's traveled the world. It's gone up Pikes Peak. It's raced at COTA. It's raced here at Road Atlanta with us multiple years. Sean, let us know what's going on. It's great to have you up here. Sad to see you not on the track.
Yeah, Cuban, thanks for having me up here. It's it's a cool place to be, but where I want to be is on the track. And but yeah, that's part of it. We came in this weekend with a much different setup, moving in the right direction from COTA, and we had a really fast car in fact practice, and it's a shame, but I can definitely sit up here knowing that we're making some great progress on a car like that. It's a long road to have full ground up build, be quick, and this weekend was definitely a step in the major direction.
Well, everyone I was talking to is saying in practice the car looked fast. Obviously, it's all conjecture. You know that without putting a lap down in competition, there's no way, how fast the car really would go. But it's good to hear. I mean, you've made multiple changes to this car. I know you had a wing failure on it at COTA. You tried a whole new setup on it. You had to take care of that. What a lot of people don't understand is when you're building a race car from the ground up and you're not basing it off of anything. For those that don't know, it is a tube chassis car, carbon body. They designed everything, suspension geometry, all of it. It takes time. Is the car going to be ready to go up Pikes Peak? Are you going up Pikes Peak again this year?
No, we've had our name in a couple of hats for some couple different events this year, and we actually were kind of looking to go to Sydney for World Time Attack Challenge. We got the nod, but it was a little tricky having the car be a tube chassis, and then it kind of puts you in an exhibition class, and there wasn't really a guarantee of how much track time we could get. And as you can imagine, it's pretty expensive to go over there and get a couple laps.
There have been a few cars, very fast cars, the HKS car that did not fit the rule set, but it was very fast. But like you said, at World Time Attack, they really focused on the competition of Time Attack. The exhibition cars don't get as much love. There's no hate on that, of course.
For sure. Yeah.
It would have been great for the nod to be there. Without going out there, what do you think the future holds for the car for the rest of this season?
So this season, we really wanted to focus on seat time because we do feel like we have a car that can compete at the highest level with Global Time Attack or just any kind of hill climb racing. But what we're lacking with is seat time. And so this season has been really focused on, I think we're probably going to triple the amount of races we typically do in a season just to get comfortable with the car. And I think we're going to do, a lot of events. We're working with, some partners to make sure that we get the car out there to as many races as we can possibly get to.
Oh, that's good. I mean, it's really hard to go faster. It's really hard to go faster without actually being able to sit in the car and go. Now, again, very sad day. Obviously, today would have been the day to show your partners and show everybody, look at what we picked up. Obviously, you got a lifter failure. It's a pushrod V8. Not a common failure, especially because we know you buy quality parts, but it is part of the game. Sadly, it happened in practice. But overall, how do you feel about your program as a whole? How do you think obviously this year is, I hate to say it's coming to an end, but it's May and everything that would have been planned is already planned. How do you feel this suits you and your team though going into next season, obviously coming out and starting strong?
Well, so I think a good example is that, in our practice, as unofficial times on Thursday, we had that push rod failure. Actually, on the cool down lap is whenever I kind of noticed something, but as I was pulling the pits, I knew we had probably something in the rotating assembly that wasn't happy. But the first thing I did, got out of the car, was like hug my crew, because that's the first time I've ever been in the car, and it felt fast, and it didn't feel like I was, driving the wheels off of it. Because Jason said, make sure you guys go out there and have fun. Don't break the car.
Yeah, you never want the car broken in qualifying.
And honestly, I wasn't driving the car fast, and we were like 7 seconds faster than our previous best here. And I was like, man, we are on it this weekend.
No, that's really good. And we have these drivers starting their flying laps now. I don't know if you noticed this, but we actually had Nick Bright's Honda Accord Euro R sitting at the end of pit out, and we had people slowing down coming up through the S's. So I'm not sure if maybe that was from an incident on track, but we'll try to get a little bit more info on that. Ray Guerrero is the fastest on track right now with a 38.218. What sucks is you would have had to do yesterday on terrible track conditions. All these drivers were dealing with wet track. I mean, obviously the second session was the best, but the track was still not perfect. Today was the day where every driver wanted to come out. We have the sun is poking out, the track is clean. The people here at Road Atlanta are doing what they do best. It's utterly incredible here to see what they're doing. So even in these quote-unquote lower sessions, we got drivers down in the 38s, out here already starting to go faster. You have enthusiast class drivers in the 30s at this moment, and even the 28s. I believe our fastest enthusiast car right now is a 28.764.
Yeah, that's quick. That's moving.
I feel like they definitely had something going on, though, because these cars were all stacked up. I saw earlier from our drone shot, people were just going a little slow through the S's. So whatever was going on there, hopefully they got that all figured out. We cut it down to 3 run groups here from 4, so it's going to be closer to 18 to 20 minutes for run group. Gives them a little bit more time, but a few more cars on track at the same time. Luckily here with the long straightaways, there's not a lot of areas where you're going to cause an incident with somebody else, so it's a pretty good track to feel that. I mean, being on track, I'm surprised they run Petit Le Mans here with how many cars IMSA has.
For sure.
It still blows my mind you have multi-class racing on a track like this.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, like today is the day to run. I mean, weather's perfect. Everyone's got plenty of track time. I mean, I definitely think this is a seat time is king for today. I think you're going to see some pretty fast laps with, all the conditions that they have.
I gotta ask, so you've driven here plenty of times. The one thing a lot of people ask us when they're watching on stream, the rubber that Formula D puts down, does that affect you at all? I know it will in the wet. I know any rubber on track in the wet's gonna cause a little incident, but usually you want the same kind of rubber you're racing on. Do you feel any difference?
Yeah, we got a black flag out there.
Sorry, yep, you caught it before I even did. We have something going on track. This is usually because a car is stopped, someone can't get off of a safe area. We have a black flag right now, so we're going to go ahead and have our drone look for it. But this gives me an opportunity to finish the question. Do you ever feel a difference when you're going through that 10A, 10B area where all the rubber is being laid down, or is it just another day on the track?
You kind of like just run through it with speed just as, you don't exactly always know either. Because, I feel like the drift cars can actually stack up quite a bit of rubber onto the tarmac. But, my first practice, on Thursday when I came through with some speed, you can definitely hear it, like lift up underneath the car as you come by. But it didn't really affect anything. But yeah, you're also curious yourself if
you never know, right?
Yeah.
You never know, because I've been on track in the rain, and the one thing you want to do is stay away from the rubber.
For sure.
But you can't stay away from rubber in 10A, 10B because the drifters have put it on every inch of the track.
Yeah, right on the race line too. There's no way to avoid it for sure.
Now, I'm not sure if this is the car that we're dealing with. It looks like, boom. So Nick Bright's car is one of the cars that was just completely stuck. Whatever happened here, he broke down. I do want to say, though, speaking of track rubber, the one thing we're blessed with is we are partnered with Yokohama. We have nothing but love with Yokohama. They've really helped support our series. It's crazy talking to these drivers on the treaded tires saying it was doing a great job of keeping the water off the track. Then you have people on slick saying they were doing a good job of coming into temperature. So while they're taking care of this, we just always want to give love to Yokohama. What they do for our motorsport and everything we do is huge. So it does look like this is Nick Bright's car breaking down on track out. Doesn't seem like a big deal, but you cannot block any in or out because in a high safety environment, they're actually going to be coming in from track out. So whatever happened there, the car didn't want to roll. It looks like they may have to bring a flatbed or they're going to get it out of gear.
Yeah, it's a bummer. He's such a nice guy, and hopefully they get that sorted out. Car looks great too. I'm a big fan of their setup.
Oh, and we also have another one. So there are 2 cars. This is Javier Torres in his unlimited class Acura Integra. He's stopped on what looks like the back straight.
Yeah, he's pitted right next to us. I know they've been chasing around, a couple little gremlins all, this past couple days. But car looks great. It's pretty sick. It's all-wheel drive as well. We've got a '98 Type R at the shop that we're one day going to build for Time Attack, but yeah, we've got our hands full.
Front-wheel drive cars to build for Time Attack takes a lot of effort.
Yeah.
It's not just the effort because the technology's there, but it takes a lot of you setting up the car. We all know front-wheel drive's fast, guys. Ferris just took out Will Al Young's record from years ago at this point, So it's not that you can't make them fast. It just takes a lot of effort from a team and a driver that's comfortable going fast in a front-wheel drive car. But you said you're a huge fan of Nick Bright's car. It's the real spoon car. Anyone who's a Honda guy in general is going to be a huge fan of that car.
I'm a big Honda guy, believe it or not. But yeah, that's definitely one of the cars I look for in the pits when I swing by. Check it out.
Should have gone Turbo K Series in your 240.
I know. There's still time. There's still time. It looks like we have to put a motor in it anyways. But
yeah, well, push rod failure, it's not common, but luckily it's something simple you can fix down the road. Maybe you got to send the heads back out to the machine shop if you got any marring in there, but realistically speaking, should be good.
Heads look good on it. We did try to fix it in the pits, so we didn't know exactly what was the culprit, but we pulled the valve cover off, noticed that the rocker was pretty loose, so underneath is push rod came out straight as an arrow. There's only one thing left underneath it, and
absolutely.
So yeah, we got we got all the lifters out, and then come to find out that the one that was suspect was actually difficult to get out. So we got an extraction tool to basically slide hammer it out, and it marred up the block on the way out. So
I was gonna say the only option you have, and you couldn't have done it here.
Exactly.
But we've run into this before. The only option you have is to actually pull the motor and push it down. But you can't push it down with pistons and rods in the engine.
Yeah, we contemplated that. What we did is we figured out that we weren't going to be able to do any on-track machine work, and then so what we did is we actually hammered the lifter back into the motor to basically as a placeholder. We took out both the push rods for that cylinder, and we were going to run the car in 7 cylinders just to get some laps. But the roller for the lifter was in the cam area, and
it would have destroyed the cam.
Yeah, and we started up. We put a new head gasket on, everything. We got to go back out on 7 cylinders, and then it just sounded like a marble was rolling around in there.
So if you notice there, what they're actually doing is Nick Bright actually broke down the front straight, and he actually pushed himself off the track. They were just putting down the oil dry there. So whatever it was, he probably had a small incident, pulled it right off. His issue will be taken care of quickly. We don't know what's going on with Javier Torres, though, in his unlimited class Integra. They're obviously getting more safety crew over there right now to take a look at it, but whatever it is, it doesn't require a flatbed. They're just going to do a flat toe, so they'll be off track pretty quickly.
He came from Puerto Rico, right?
I believe so.
That's awesome. That's really cool for him to bring his car over here and run it out. Road Atlanta.
Big commitment. Well, it's a world-renowned track. To us, it's normal. It's part of our calendar. You know what I mean? But a lot of people would kill to come drive this track.
For sure. This is definitely an epic track.
Now, the good thing about these sessions is they're closer to 18 or 19 minutes long. Depending on how long it takes to pull this car out, these drivers may actually have a chance to go out to set 1 or 2 more laps.
Yeah.
And they're killing 2 birds with 1 stone right now. Clean the front straight while they pull the guy off the back straight.
Yeah, the Road Atlanta crew they're super fast to get things going. It's pretty impressive how they're. I think practice session we had a car that oiled the track, and man, we were back out there in 5 minutes. It seemed like.
What's funny is I was on a flight coming out here, and when I landed, I turned my phone back on, and there's text messages obviously from the crew, and you read like the timestamps, and it's like, oh, black flag practice. 7 minutes later, okay, we're green. That means that even in non-competition days, they're doing their darndest to make sure that everything's up and running well. we're not sure if this is new or old, but this is actually underneath Kevin Vu's car that's being pulled out. It does look like we have some fluid on track, so hopefully the track officials have a chance to take a look at that.
Yeah, that's a bummer. That's Kevin's another dude I look for when we come to races. He's a great guy. Car's always rad. I'm always super jealous. We've got our Type R rotting away in our shop, and every time I see his car, I want to get mine out and get that thing going.
I actually have an Integra. No one will ever say it's real because I don't even think it's real anymore. I've had it for far too long. But it's by far one of my favorite chassis that Honda ever made. If you look back in my history, I am a Honda fanboy, but I had 3 EGs.
Oh, yeah,
anyone that's had an EG is going to naturally want an Integra. It's the same dang car, better wheel, better wheelbase, better chassis.
It's the car we couldn't afford.
You freaking nailed it.
Yep.
So anytime that we see an Integra on track in this day, in the early 2000s, Integras are still relevant time-wise. It's 2005, the Integra stopped in 2000, but it's 2023. When I see Integras out there still running, it just brings me joy.
Yeah, I think they're a great platform. I mean, they've held their own for a long time, and there's a lot of aftermarket support. I think we got Kevin coming down the hill in the pit right now.
That's good. And like I said, I'm sure they're going to send track out there, track safety, to double check to make sure everything's good.
Oh, that's not Kevin. That's the.
Oh no, that's Javier Torres. Kevin.
Sorry,
Vu.
Kevin.
Kevin Vu is the street class one. That's Javier Torres. Kevin Vu has the white one.
Yeah, he just did I think K-swap in it a couple events ago.
No, and he's run with us before. He's incredible.
Yeah, he's a real nice guy. Yeah. Yeah, it's a bummer.
Okay, we got. I apologize. We got report back. That's actually condensation from the rescue truck's AC. It's already drying out.
Yeah.
So obviously, like I was telling a couple other people, they would never flat tow anything out of this place that was leaking fluid that they knew of. Obviously, we have nothing but respect for these guys. So when we saw a few dots on the ground, we were like, wait a second. But it was condensation. It's completely drying out. They already had track safety out there. Double check it.
Yeah, hopefully they can get that car sorted out. And hopefully it's something easy. Because that's a pretty rad car, being all-wheel drive, and I know they've come a long way to make sure they can get some laps in. So hopefully it's a quick one and they can get back out there.
Yeah, but when you rewrite the wheel, when you reinvent the wheel, rewrite the wheel. Yeah. When you reinvent the wheel, you're always going to run into issues. I mean,
ask me how I know.
I was about to say, if anyone I've had up here, I'm pretty sure you're the person that would know that reinventing the wheel takes a lot of practice. And what sucks is, and we've seen this happen, and I hope this doesn't happen to you, people just get so demoralized. Mm-hmm. Now, what's good for you is the car broke, but the car was running amazingly. Yeah. Not engine-wise, and your engine's always been strong. Your chassis was feeling good. The brakes, the steering, everything was lined up. So even though you did have a motor issue, the next time you go out, it's going to be strong again.
Yeah, our motor started life as a $300 engine that we just used as kind of a placeholder for mock-up, and essentially we threw some parts in it just to kind of get it going, and she's served us well, and I think
you're throwing it away, right? Throw it away. Start fresh.
I think we actually might take it all apart and just use it for a mock-up engine for other projects. I was going to
say that's perfect, because once you mar that push rod hole, you're not.
It's done.
Because machine or not, it's going to be bigger than the size of the. I'm sorry, push rod. I apologize. Lifter. Once you've marred that lifter location.
Oh, it's bad too. It's drug out for sure.
So the good thing is, like you said, you'll have a mock-up motor, and now you can actually, with a car that seems to be handling well and doing its job, you can actually put a high-end, very strong built motor in there. You're naturally aspirated, correct?
No, we're single turbo. Garrett Turbo.
Hey, listen, Garrett Advancing Motion has been supporting drivers at the highest and lowest level for longer than I have been in motorsports, so I got nothing but love for that company.
For sure. Yeah, so I've been kind of eyeing a 427 short block, and that's a big boy motor, and
7-liter, baby.
Yeah, for sure. And we ran that time out there on our lowest boost setting possible. So as soon as we were coming in, I was thinking, well, it's time to turn it up. The car feels great. Let's put some laps down. And,
I'm a bigger fan, and I get a lot of hate for this, but I think a high compression, high strung LS7, any 7-liter is the way. You look at Eric Fleming's car. That's naturally aspirated. Mm-hmm. His car's it's bigger than a 7-liter, obviously. Yeah. He's got a monster under that, but it still was an LS platform starting, and he's out here doing 180 miles an hour on the back straight. If you watch the video on his Facebook yesterday from his 122.9, 181 miles an hour in
That's
a naturally
crazy.
aspirated set,
Absolutely nuts.
LS motor, So obviously nothing wrong with boost. I think boost is really the end of the day. It's the way to go. You're trying to compete. You're trying to get tenths, hundredths, thousandths. Any little thing you can to get power is very important. So big single turbo on any kind of LS is going to be strong. You could buy another $300 motor and still go out there and get close to setting records if the car's good.
We thought about maybe going on Marketplace, but after we actually talked to Ferris, because he actually had to do this exact same thing a couple years ago. Went through the trouble of finding another motor, only to blow it up on the track, and it was kind of one of those things that we're willing to do just about everything except for pull a motor. It's a pretty complicated setup. And
I was going to say, in a car that came with an LS is quick, but your car has been tube built, chain.
Yeah,
it's at the end of the day, you might even be looking at it at the end of the season to go, hey, how can we revise this chassis to make pulling a motor a little easier?
Yeah, so I think our plan next is to and talk about boost. Yeah, I would actually prefer to keep things simple an NA motor, but one of the things that is basically mandatory for Pikes Peak is you have to have boost.
What you're up there, you're being choked out. You're totally correct. I mean, one of two options: boost or a whole bunch of nitrous. You know what I mean? And it's like to get from the bottom to the top of the mountain, you're running more than one tank. It's not necessarily worth it.
Yeah, run a Garrett G42 compact. And
42 1200C?
Yep.
Yeah.
And that thing is so good. It's 1200 horsepower turbo. We're not running 1200 horsepower, but the response for, the 650, which is our lowest, boost setting is, you would think that's like the perfect turbo for it. So,
we do a lot of work at where I work, and we put a lot of these turbos on, and I've been lucky enough to see the 42 1200C in multiple scenarios. Just did one on a 2J the other day, broke 1,000 without, with minimal effort.
Yeah.
And it's, in general, what we love so much about Garrett, and, obviously, hey, guys, full disclosure, they sponsor the series, but realistically, as far as turbo technology goes, they never sit on their laurels. It was the GT, it was the GTX, it was the Gen 2 GTX, and then the G series comes out, and every turbo that comes out isn't a small jump, it's a big leap. From Gen 1 to Gen 2 GTX, you're talking 500 to 800 RPM spooling faster of the same turbo. From the same chassis design from Gen 2 to G series, another 500 to 800 RPM. They are making it so people like you can run big dog turbos and still get extreme response at whatever you're trying to do.
For sure, yeah. I think, we do install, decent amount and sell a decent amount of Garrett turbos. But I'll be honest, I've touched just about every turbo you can think of. And, I have a deal with Garrett, but I would always pick a Garrett turbo knowing, what I've worked with.
Yeah, and obviously every situation is a little bit different. We're not going to sit here and say they're the best at everything. There is no company that is. It's just their engineer support is huge.
That's massive for us in our program, is we're always in uncharted territory, and to be able to actually pick up a phone and get data and real time like suggestions and recommendations is huge.
What's crazy though is you are a sponsored team and driver. I have customers that can pick up the phone and get the same help. Their company as a whole, if you pick up the phone and call Garrett and say, hey, here's the motor I have in my car, here's my build, here's what I'm using it for, you're not getting a salesman saying, oh, buy this 3582.
Yeah.
You're getting a tech on the phone that says, okay, based on the heads you're running, based on the amount of exhaust flow you have, based on your power goals, here's the two turbos we recommend. Here are the charts that show what the spool's like. I mean, I've sat on the phone with them before knowing what I wanted to buy and still going, hey, let me feel this out. And they just helped me understand that my purchase was correct, so.
I mean, I did the same thing, but my purchase was not correct.
They told you were wrong, right?
Yeah.
They have no problem with that. Zero issue.
Tim over there is absolutely fantastic to work with, but so I kind of, when I was going to turbo my car, I just assumed V8 twin turbo, and they gave me a lot of data to kind of push me away and go to a single turbo, and I'm really glad that I did. Even though it's a big turbo, there's a lot less other stuff,
You're not trying to build a half mile drag car. You don't need twins. You know what I mean? No, it's really cool. Tim, obviously huge shout out to Tim Colty. He's been supporting us with Garrett since day one. Basically, I've known Tim a decade now, and Tim's definitely one of the coolest guys I've ever met.
You know what I love is he comes to the track.
Yeah,
customers ask me all the time,
even
why
after
do you pick?
He had a baby.
Yeah, people ask me all the time, like, why do you pick these certain brands, that I work with? And I'm like, dude, because they show up.
They show up big, and it's there's always going to be people that tell you this brand is better, that brand is better. The truth be told,
where are they at when it comes to a race?
Better is relevant.
Yeah.
Better is always relevant. Let's say someone feels that this tire is better than that tire, but you know what? Yokohama comes here and the engineers support all the drivers, tell them, hey, you should run it at this pressure, this much camber, and they'll come with the data to prove it. And a team that's on whatever tire they wanted to buy is going slower than the Yokohama guy because the Yokohama guy has support. Better is a relevant term.
For sure.
And we're always going to tell you Garrett's better because of every reason you just said right there. Same reason we're going to tell you Yokohama's better. Link ECU, we have a lot of competitors that run Link. There's a lot of people in the work that I do that run Link, and they do it for two reasons. Link shows up to the racetrack, and Link also, their customer support in the U.S. is huge. They're another company based out of another country, just like Haltech, just like Mitchell, all those other guys. But when you get in contact with Link US, they know what they're talking about. They don't have to call their counterparts in the other country and go, hey, I have this issue. How can you help me right now?
Yeah, and the support's massive for a race program, especially if you want to go fast. It's,
while we're out here, we do have the beginning of Group 2, Session 2, led out by Corey Ross. Now, Corey Ross should have been second behind Joshua Briggs in the Miata, but the Miata's actually not been fixed yet. Now that we're going to see it again. They did a 32.7, though, with the one session they ran.
You think they're done for? Or?
I think so. They had to pull the head off, and I don't think they're going to be able to fix it.
Yeah, I saw them out at CMP, met those guys out there, and man, they were a really nice, great group of guys, and I was super pumped when I pulled into the pits and I saw them out there, and I think they have a new K-swap in there, 700 wheel or some craziness like that, and man, that Miata is on one. That thing's pretty rad.
Absolutely. It's great to see. Now, what's also really cool to see is like people like we're talking about like Savannah Little and her C8. She's about to pass start finish right now. The C8 belongs to her mom. Now that right there, we probably have an issue. That's Brad Balcom, and he's been running hot lap after hot lap. So for him to pull to the side leads me to believe he either made a mistake or the car's not acting right.
Yeah.
But Savannah's out here in the C8 because that's what she was able to bring. And you know what's funny about that? She's going faster and faster every lap in her mom's car. That just makes
that's
me
pretty
happy.
rad. Yeah. Yeah, this is a good group.
Corey Ross stopped on the downhill to let Kyle set his lap time because Corey probably lost it in 10-8 turns and didn't want to block. That's what I love about being here in general. Drivers are doing everything they can to try and make sure they don't block anybody. Here's Jonathan Wheeler on his first car. See if they can reset that limited overall. 34.867. I think that he needs to be at a 34.808 or below. I'm sorry, 08 or below. Let's take a look. I have everything written down right here.
Yeah, this is a really great run group. You got Kevin Parlett out there in the G35.
Yeah,
Car
he needs
sounds
to be
great.
like sub 34 too. So, the biggest thing about Jonathan Wheeler, you saw him at COTA. He reset the overall
he was on
enthusiast record there. He's been very fast. People like Chin Chi Chang in the USR Civic Type R, he's been competing here a while. It's great to see them continuously going faster. Jeremy Lauder, another person you can probably recognize from COTA, that extremely loud Camaro Z01.
Absolute fantastic guy too, man. Such a great guy. I mean, I honestly, it's one of the things I love about Time Attack racing. I've raced a bunch of different types of two-wheel racing, and Time Attack Grid is the best. Everyone is just so nice and helpful, and everyone's, if they got a tool, they're going to give it to you or a part or something like that. But Jeremy's actually helped us out this weekend with a couple parts, but didn't work out. But yeah, he was there for us.
No, and I think that's the best part, though, right? And it doesn't matter, what series you're in. It doesn't matter if you're running with us. Doesn't matter if you're running with like time trials and SSCCA. It doesn't matter if you're running with Grid Life. I've been to many time trial and time attack events, and competitors want to beat you on track.
Yes.
They don't want to beat you by technicality.
Yeah.
They don't want to win because you're pro.
Yeah, we got Devin out there too. I know she had a transmission. She had to pull and yank out, and I think they were on Marketplace and found another transmission.
Got it in before the first session yesterday. Did a couple reconnaissance laps. Sent some data to their tuner, and they've basically been fighting it. Look at Robert Rushton come down. He takes all of the curb on the inside. This guy terrifies me every single time.
Well, he'll get out of shape one or two times, and that'll be...
That's what I'm saying, but we don't want to see that. But I don't know if he's a local, or there's Kevin Boone. Beautiful car. I don't know if he's a local Robert Rushton. I want to talk to this guy before the event's over, because you don't meet someone who has no problem putting two tires on the inside of 12 every single lap unless they've been doing it for years.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. Yeah, Kevin's car looks fantastic out there. Man, I'm a big DC guy.
No, I agree. I mean, it's hard not to love him, you know. I don't know if we have drivers. Oh, you know what? He was just staying out of the way so Savannah could start. This is really difficult when you're trying to put your car into the pit lane, but someone's on a flyer behind you, so you got to hunker on the inside and then cut over. Obviously, when you're doing like Petit Le Mans, the pit in is actually on the right, so it's easier. It's not an issue. See if Devin can go faster than her fastest. She said 35 earlier, so Devin's always been. Devin's always been someone that takes a few laps to really get in. I think she really cooked her tires, though. I was talking to her earlier, and she may have gotten the most out of those by doing one too many laps in anger. We've all done it, you know what I mean? 32-1 leading the session with Chin-Chi Chang. I think that's going to be his fastest lap of the event. Yes, it is. He was at a 33.3. So he picked up 1.3 seconds in this session. Jeremy Lauder also at a 32.1. His fastest lap was a 33.2. So these guys are all picking up speed right now.
Definitely pretty jealous. I mean,
I was about to say, I feel like this is a double-edged sword. You're watching everyone go faster, and you're up here just drinking your coffee, wishing you were in your car.
I think we just tell ourselves this to make us feel better. But that's racing. But that's part of it. I mean, it's a $40 part, trashed our motor, and has us out, and then. We did our best to try to get back in the game, but risk reward, and risk was a lot of work and probably similar result.
Minimal reward, exactly, 100%. Yeah. I mean, and that's like we'll bring up Eric Fleming for a second. It really does suck that he had that really aggressive off, trying to avoid something. He tapped the wall with his quarter panel. Now, the beautiful thing about is competitors are going to come together. They're going to come together, help him get the car in the trailer. And, the incident that happened on track between people, they're going to work it out afterwards. All our competitors work together to make things happen. We would just love to see Eric set another lap in anger more than anything.
For sure. Yeah. And Devin again.
35.892. Pretty good. Now, I think Devin's fastest lap is a 35.802. So even with tires that are nowhere near their best, she's still right on pace with her fastest lap. It was a beautiful limited class. The A90s are obviously taking over the world. But
we have customers all the time that want to build all of these crazy cars, and we're kind of known for taking loved platforms and turning them into competitive cars. But I always tell everybody, if you want to be fast, you go buy an A90.
Buy an A90 now. Obviously, if you'd have bought an A90 in the first few years of it, you'd have hated it. They had millions of issues. I'm not going to say it again. It terrifies me. They've had millions of issues, and people are blessed that someone like Jackie Ding.
For sure, he's pioneered that platform without a doubt.
He was the guy who figured out all the problems along with AMS and all of his partners. And I hate to say he's retiring it. He's doing it, though. He's smart. I mean, you don't stay in a class forever, Amir did what he did, and he moved to Unlimited.
And I really appreciate that, because some guys will just hover in a class forever. And I do think you kind of have to move up, you know what I mean?
Well, and to be fair, for us in competition, the only class we don't want people hovering in is enthusiast. We class people out of enthusiast. We've classed, I think, 11 people out of enthusiast over the years. We will continue to do so because it's the entry-level class.
Yeah, it's not.
We don't want someone to go and be like, "Oh, I want to try this out," and be, "Oh, that guy is one enthusiast 11 years in a row." No one wants that, Street class you can stay in. I hate to say it, but it's the competitiveness of street class is incredible.
Yeah, it's unreal. Yeah, that's a class I don't want to race in.
But now, it's so cool to see people that were at the pinnacle of that class out. They're like, look, we've set our records. We've done what we wanted to do. We're going to bump. Now, everyone saw Amir bump to Unlimited, even with a car that wasn't complete, came and competed at COTA. Mad respect. Yeah. Jackie's bought a BMW M2 that he's building for our limited class. I think he's running, what is it called in Grid Life? The GT. It's something you have like a GT class, I think. Corvettes are in it. I'm pretty sure Jackie was in it at the last event too. But so he's running that class over there, and he's going to build it for limited here. Now, obviously, the A90, he's going to do the season with us. He did COTA, and he's going to do this track, and I think that's the end. He took his record back at COTA, and hopefully he can take it back here because he knows this is his last chance to take Amir's name off the record books. Stop. I just can't watch that anymore. The man is wild. That right there, I believe, is Kevin Parlett. Yeah, that's Kevin Parlett.
What's he looking like out here?
He's run a 30-something. He did a 35 earlier today. I forgot my computer's touchscreen. Yeah, that's his fastest lap. He was in the 36s. So that 35.6 that he's run is his fastest. He is coming in after his first lap every session, checking data. Kevin spent a lot of time on that car, and we haven't seen a lot of laps in competition, but it looks like he has it figured out.
Yeah, he's got a refreshed motor setup. I think a new LS3. I could be wrong. Somebody's going to type right now. It's this, that, the other. But anyways, I think he's got a new, like, more refined motor setup, and yeah, I think, you know, he probably suffers from me. Same thing as seat time, but you know, he's
he's been a competitor with us since the beginning. So when he's had the same G since the beginning, by the way, in case you didn't know.
He has.
It used to be VQ powered, which was always a mistake. You know, Nissan made a mistake in building that motor. I'm kidding. It was VQ powered. It was boosted. He's run button willow with it. He's run here a bunch of times, and yeah, he made the jump to continue to develop that car. And I remember
it's pretty well sorted out. It's a really nice car.
He was running into issues back when he was running into ABS problems, and so he went to like Tilton Masters individuals, and he was running with problems trying to get the brake lock up, and then one day he's like, yeah, I'm just putting an LS in it. I'm done with dealing with this motor that's high strung and braking all the time. Put an LS in it, but then he didn't get much time for exactly what we said.
Yeah.
So these little things.
You can definitely get caught up in the build time, and I mean, I'm 100% of, you know, I'm my own victim of that. And
that was Robert Rushton doing a 137, 149. We didn't catch it on camera, but I saw it out the window, and that's the most I've ever seen him over 12. It's like he's using that curb to hook the corner, and I don't know.
Some initial D stuff happening there.
I respect it. I remember winning that race down the tailgate too, dude. You got to hook that inside line. You know? Great shot here of what Formula Drift setup is like. Obviously, if you can't tell by watching, they come through 10A, 10B, and then they go around that circle and come back up the hill.
We'll check up from Kevin right there, but
you know what you can't hear on the stream, but we can hear when these people lift. And sometimes I'm watching and I'm shook at how some of these cars with minimal aero will actually stay matted down 12.
Yeah. We're pretty on it down 12 in our practice. I was really impressed that we could get away with that.
Well, yeah, a lot of these cars are hitting 120, 130 down the front straight. To hit speeds like that on such a short straight means you're carrying a lot of speed coming down 12.
Yeah.
I mean, you can tell me. You've competed here. 2 highest commitment corners are actually on this straightaway.
Yeah.
Down 12 and up 1.
I mean, I'll be honest, 1 terrifies me. When my first event here, I had a manual transmission, and then I had a really terrible brake setup on the car, and I felt like I had 2x4s for brake pads, and it just didn't like the commitment, and I downshifted, and next thing you know, I'm looking at the pit wall, and man, that has never been able to come away from me. So I've definitely take my time into turn 1.
Well, and 1, even if you hit it well, let's say you're carrying a lot of speed, all it takes is to dip a tire on the outside, and you're hitting the inside wall.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of runoff in turn 1. This track in general is not a place you want to go off.
I feel like there is good runoff in 1 if you're smart enough to keep going straight.
Yeah.
But like anyone trying to set a lap time, you're like, oh, it's just a tire off. I can save it. You didn't see it. He's actually set his fastest at 137, 149 last lap in this session. Is that his fastest of the event? That I'm unsure of. His fastest of the event is a 36.569. So he's a little bit off of his fastest lap, but the hard part is usually the lower the class, they're running on the same tires for the whole event.
Right.
Unlimited and limited drivers almost always bring multiple sets of tires. Enthusiast drivers are always on the same tires. They drove to the event.
Yeah, I was going to say, they drove here.
I mean, that's why mad respect to it. They drove to the event on those tires, and then street class is in between, you know. Most street class drivers are going to drive here on a set of tires or tow here on a set of tires, run the first day on them, and then put fresh stickers on for day 2.
Yep.
And then they'll use those fresh stickers to start the next event.
Such a beautiful track. I mean, this is, I ran here on 2 wheels quite a bit, and man, I always look forward to coming back to Road Atlanta.
They change it on 2 wheels, though. The curbing's different.
Yep.
They put up different curbs. I remember we ran last year, and I'm watching them change the curbing. I'm asking what they're doing. Like, oh, there's a MotoGP race here. I'm like, oh, I didn't know it was that different. Does look like Robert Rushton's coming back in. He's done jumping 12. He's tested fade enough times for this session. Kyle McCoo in limited class at a 132.051. He's absolutely leading in that A90 Super. That's that gray one that we were talking about when it was coming down. Probably silver, to be honest with you. Chin-Chi Chang only did 5 laps. His third lap was his fastest one. Jeremy Lauder set his fastest lap on his third lap. Corey Ross in that M3 set his fastest of the session on his 5th lap, but I still think it's a second slower than his fastest overall. Kevin Parlette's now in the 34s. He was in the 36s, so he's picked up a lot of time. Jonathan Wheeler, he's still only doing 1 lap. He may be dealing with overheating issues. Maybe car's not as healthy as he wants it to be because he's been doing 1 lap every session. But if he wants to hold that record, he's got to get below a 34.208, and he hasn't gotten there. He hasn't even gotten close. He did reset the rear-wheel drive record, though, so you have to respect that.
There's plenty of time left.
Well, there's 1 more session, technically.
Well, yeah, but I feel like yeah, I mean, feel like this is a long time to get back in the pits, kind of regroup, check the car out, see what you got going on, get your mind fresh, and then go back out and send it.
No, I agree 100%. He does have plenty of time, and he did the same thing at Coda. He set his fastest lap, I believe, on his very last session.
Yeah.
So
what was it, the last lap or something like that?
He only did 2 laps, so he went out, made a mistake, came back in the pits, went out, and on the last available lap, because he would have been checkered after that, he absolutely.
All right, well then I'm rooting for him if he's got 1 more session. He's got the history for it.
He's always trying to beat a Type R.
Yeah.
He was actually losing to a Type R at Coda, Jeffrey Ting, I believe it was, and he pulled it out on that very last lap. Now here, he's pretty well ahead of Robert Rushton, but he had another Type R that was just on his tail. Chin-Chi Chang is in street class, obviously, so these guys are really trying their hardest right now. So he's at a 34, and Robert Rushton's at a 35. So it's not like, so Rushton's at a 36, actually, so it's not like they're miles apart.
I'll tell you what, though, Kevin's cutting some laps out here. That Type R's, I don't know. Is it a Type R?
I do not know, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I mean, when it's on the racetrack, I always assume it's not.
Yeah.
Hate to say it, 90% of people don't want to cut up a Type R to turn into a race car. But his fastest of the event's at 38.390. Out here, he's run a 37.550. He's actually run his fastest of the event on that 5th lap. So
nice.
He is cutting laps. He's cutting time.
Yeah, it's showing that
also one of the nicest guys I've ever met.
Dude, he is a really, really nice guy. I was I put us feelers out there looking for some Type R parts for ours, and man, he was all over it. He's a really big help. But as testament to his build, he does everything himself, I think. And then, yeah, he's out there cutting pretty much as much laps as he wants.
No, it's great. It absolutely is great. So here we are. We're going to go ahead and throw the checker flag for this session. While these drivers are finishing their cooldown laps, let's go ahead and get some class descriptions up for people who are new to this event, or we're just right now picking up. This is going to be Mr. Gurney on his final lap. It was a skosh slower than his fastest, so it's not going to upgrade on timing and scoring. But let's start with enthusiasts. Enthusiasts, what we're talking about: Robert Rushton, Jonathan Wheeler, minimal aero. Car has to be registered to the driver. No hot shoes, professional or not. We don't have power mod. I mean, we don't have power limits here, so you're always going to be on limited mods, but it's your responsibility to put that power down on those 220 tread wear tires. Right. And engine swaps are limited to engines that came in the car. We're both EG fans, so it means if you had an EG, you could put a B16 in it because that was available in Japan.
Right.
So it has to be something that was available in the chassis. Going to street class is where we actually start seeing the competition get really wild. Still no pros. Car still has to be registered and insured, but it doesn't have to be registered to the driver. Dog boxes are open. Minimal aero, but it's still a 5-inch splitter you can chassis mount. It's still a wing that can be 5 inches back off the car. It's a 200 tread wear tire, which is usually the control tire of an AO52, but due to all of the shortages in the world right now, we've opened that up so people can run anything so they don't feel hindered. And then engine swaps are limited to engines that came available from the manufacturer, plus or minus 2 cylinders. So if you had a B series in your car, you could put a J series in. Limited class. This is the next high bump. This is where Jackie Ding really hopes to cement himself. And the reason I really love it is because we have very few cars built to the limit of limited class. There's a lot of Street Plus cars that are built very well, sequentials, but they don't have the aero, they don't have the development in the rest. We all know if PhD Racing and Jackie are getting involved in limited, they're going to put the sequential and they're going to flat bottom. Treadwear, it's still usually the AO52 control tire, but you can run a 60 treadwear tire in it right now. And engine swaps are open. You can LS swap things if you want.
I noticed that guys don't take as much advantage of the Aero 4 Limited class.
That's what I'm saying. People don't build the limit of
run
it.
Huge Aero
14-inch Aero box.
Yeah, it's crazy.
14 inches out, 10 inches
Actually, I don't take that.
You don't even take it. Unlimited is exactly that. That's the Ferris Khartoumis. That's the Life Motorsports. That's the David Hagsmas of the world. These people who have committed to building a car that's so high-strung that every time they go out, it could cost them their wallet, but still go very fast.
This is what you're here to see. These are the cars you're here to see.
Paddle shift sequential allowed, no rules on aero mods, no rules on power, no rules on what motor you put into it, and it's the only class where you can change drivetrain. So if you have a Honda and it's all-wheel drive, you can run it unlimited. You can't run a Civic in unlimited, period. I mean, in street class all-wheel drive, because it's not within the rules.
Right.
And then finally, the last class, and you can speak to this class better than anyone, Pro Comp is how we created Pro Comp as a series was to give people a chance to build something badass that doesn't fit within Time Attack rule sets. Tube chassis cars, people who have taken like Porsche Cup cars and made them crazy, stuff like that.
Daytona prototypes.
So why did you build a Pro Comp car?
I didn't actually know I was building a Pro Comp car.
Someone needs to read the rule set before they build
Yeah.
a car. Hey, this is to all you out there. Read the rules before you build.
Well, I was building a Pikes Peak car, so that's classed a little bit differently because if I would have actually reused remanufactured like a tub for the car and a firewall and stuff like that. I do have steel like firewall and floor and stuff like that, but because I'm not using OEM stuff, that kind of puts me in a Pro Comp. But yeah, I think Pro Comps are really cool. I really like that you guys have Pro Comp just because it does allow you to see crazy cars cut just super fast laps. Cars essentially built for endurance. There's right there. Cars that are built for pretty much anything are just can come out here and cut as fastest laps as they want.
Oh, absolutely, and that's why. And of course, the rules are to protect Pro Comp. Like we have wheelbase rules. That way, people aren't bringing super go karts because you and I both
or
know
open wheel.
100%. You could. Super go karts can show up and do crazy laps. Now, Ferris is on track. Jackie's on track. This is going to be the final session of the day. The final run group of this session. We still have one more for the day. Ferris is going to try to reset that 118 he just did, and Jackie's going to try to take the overall street record. Let's see what we got going on out there. All right, 117.725. So
That's
for
it.
anyone wondering if he was going to go a little bit faster.
One lap. One lap.
He's absolutely in the 17s now. Ferris, he put the stamp on it.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. Yeah, yesterday I was chatting with him in the pits. He had some power steering issues and swapped out a new pump, which is one of the, I think why Corvette's such a great platform is you can go up to your favorite auto parts store and easily get a whatever you need pretty much. But I'm super pumped to see him get that sorted out and literally do one lap and break his own record again. It's pretty sick.
I know, and that's the thing is, like, with a track of such high commitment here, Jackie Ding with a 27.409 right now. I mean, let's go ahead and talk about that. His fastest is a 25.897. He has to do faster than a 25.808. So he was 12 hundredths off of setting the record in street class, and he's going a little slower. So Jackie has also made mistakes on first laps and come back and annihilated the lap after. So I'm never going to bet against Jackie. Amir may be my boy. I'm never betting against Jackie to save my life.
Yeah, we've got Jackie's on one too.
Oh yeah, he's definitely on another flyer. Ferris is going to come back in. When you build a car to that level, like you built a Pikes Peak car, you should be able to lap it 24/7. You know what I mean? Because it's going up one of the hardest hill climbs the world has ever seen. But like the Life Motorsports, these people who built a Time Attack Unlimited car, know that there is no second lap. The engine's going to be too hot. The tires are going to be too hot. It doesn't exist, you know? So he's going to come back in. He's going to get back in his pits. He's going to be able to celebrate with that incredible lap time and then just go from there.
Yeah, huge congratulations to Ferris. He is a one-man band. I know he's got a lot of support with some partners behind him, but him and I chit-chatting every now and then, and man, absolute huge respect. I mean, I show up to these races with our team and stuff like that, and he shows up. He's wrenching everything by himself, and mad respect to that dude.
Well, yeah, and realistically speaking, he's doing this on his own. Now, he does have a team. No one's saying he doesn't, but a lot of these cars come out of a shop.
Yeah.
And Ferris's car is not coming out of a shop.
Yeah, we've got 3 shop cars on the track right now, and yeah, it's huge to see somebody do all that on their own.
Oh, absolutely, and he partners with great people. He's looking up a lot of stuff. He has no issue. No one's doing anything on their own. It doesn't exist where I built this car on my own. Is that the Miata backup? Hey, I was wrong. That is the Miata back out.
Yeah, I didn't mean that he's like one man dealio. But it's just I think it's impressive that I guess from my standpoint it's like there's no way I can do it without my wife and my 2 guys that work for us showing up to the track. He shows up with his chick and he's changing.
Yeah, no, 100%. And he's partnering with people. He's doing it right. I do want to talk about the Miata for a second. That's Joshua Briggs. That's his first lap back out since yesterday, I believe. I haven't seen his car back out since yesterday. His fastest lap yesterday was a 32.758. He just did a 7.74, which means he's absolutely on the same pace, so he can definitely pick up some time. And this is his first time on track with such incredible conditions. You know what I mean?
Got Jason. He's in hot pits. Hopefully everything looks good for him.
He's a great competitor. He's been competing for a long time, and he picked up 5 or 6 seconds from the wet to the dry. I don't think it was that was causing it. I think he might have had some issues because he's always been on pace. But the first dry session of today, 5 seconds faster than yesterday.
Yeah, he's could be to our attacking the clock front splitter he's got on us.
Hey, look at that self-promotion. Yeah, it's allowed.
He tucked his front splitter yesterday, and then we actually made him a new one. He just wasn't able to get it on for the event, and then funny enough, he's got it here and slapped it on, and he's
going fast. Hey guys, so 5 seconds. If you want to gain 5 seconds,
buy our front splitter.
I'm absolutely not advertising that. I'm not putting my name on that, boys and girls. But that's the thing. These teams work together. Like every event you go to, you're definitely going to see people who have worked with other teams. You see aero built by competitors. Yep. There's a lot of aero out there built by other competitors on cars, and at the end of the day, it's a win-win, right? Let's say you're competing against him and he beats you, but you get to say, but he beat me with my parts.
Right, yeah. Jason's a great guy. We've done a lot of work on his car. I know Czech 6 has done a lot of work as well, but I think he's really happy with the development of his cars. I think he has the all-wheel drive record.
Who?
Jason Guzman.
You know what? I have all that stuff in front of me.
I think he's actually broke his own record from last year.
But he did have the all-wheel drive record. He absolutely did. So the unlimited all-wheel drive record is actually, or is he limited? Is Guzman?
He has moved up. He was in limited.
I was about to say.
Yeah.
So in limited class, he held the all-wheel drive record, but he's moved to unlimited.
Yeah.
And the unlimited all-wheel drive record is a 120.
Whoa.
That's Jeff Westphal in the GST Motorsports L. That is a legacy time attack car. That's one of the original U.S. time attack cars. It was setting records everywhere. And if you don't know who Jeff Westphal is, only American ever to set pole to 24 hours at Nürburgring, races IMSA, sets. I mean, he's an incredible driver. Okay, let's not lie to each other here about anything. With that being said, he is absolutely a competitor. He's absolutely a competitor who's going to be able to push those records in those areas. You know what I mean? He may be first year in unlimited class here, and he may be building up through and to that, but I have no doubt that given the chance, he'll have no issue whatsoever pushing to the times that Jeff Westphal is pushing in the L.
Yeah, they're definitely making some strides with the GTR. It's been pretty impressive. And then Jason's a wheelman too. He's not afraid to send it. He's taking that car off road quite a bit.
Yeah, he's no issue with sending it whatsoever.
We got anybody out there now? Yeah, we got a couple guys. So what are your predictions? Do you think Ferris is going to go back out?
I don't think so. I think he's done.
Yeah.
So it's
nothing to prove. Super high
it's
risk.
not only that, it's getting warmer. It's the high risk. I mean, I'd love to see him go back out and do a 16. You know what I mean? I would absolutely love him to go out and see him do a 16. But truth be told, it's high risk, high reward in these areas. And he came here to prove a point, stamp it out, set a record. But he still has to continue testing. The car is going to Australia. It's going to Sydney. He needs to be able to put the time in to get more testing everywhere he can. Obviously, if you can't do another lap here, who's to say you can do one there? But he's probably stamped what he feels the car can absolutely do.
For sure, and I think, he's got a brand new motor package as well. I think he had some motor issues at COTA. And then I think, last second, I know he just barely made this event, with the new motor setup. Yeah, proved that it works.
This is still going to be the fastest group out here. So Jackie Ding at a 27.409 hasn't gone back out since his first lap. It has not gone back. So I'm not sure if he has an issue or if the guys have to get in there and figure something out. I've been following Jackie Ding since he first started in Time Attack in the S2000. He's never a guy that wants to give up until he's given it his all. So whatever it might be going on, he's probably going to get it figured out and try to go out again. It looks like Leaf Storer and Alexander Gallardo are the guys doing lap after lap. So is Michael Costa.
Yeah, I think Leaf just came in too.
Yeah, Michael in that Evo is absolutely going fast also.
Yeah, they were. It's good to see they were having their pit right next to us, so they were having a couple of issues. I'm glad they got that sorted out as well. It seems like a lot of guys are overcoming some issues from early on in practice, and it's good to see at least Briggs back out there with that Miata. I don't know. I think he's already back off, but it's good to see that they've worked their tails off to get it back on the track.
Even if it was just to go out and do a installation lap and make sure the car is happy, that's all that matters. So it's been really good to watch that. I know for the most part, Road Atlanta is the kind of event that, to anyone that comes here knows, it's a driver's event. This is not. We go to COTA. That's a fan event. Let's not lie to each other.
Yeah.
You live to drive there. You've driven it. You know how amazing it is. But this event means so much to the drivers because though COTA is an incredible facility, this is that track where you have years upon years of history of laps here, pre-Time Attack, pre-everything.
Oh, yeah.
And people just want to come here and go fast. They want to be able to say, hey, I ran a 1XXX here at Road Atlanta. And
people know exactly if that's fast or not.
100%. Yeah. You literally nailed it. To us on the West Coast, it's like saying, hey, I did sub 50 at Buttonwillow, where people are like, dang, you were scooting, right?
Yeah.
It's like Gingerman. They have, I don't know their time frame, so I'm not going to sit here and pretend to, but they have a lap time there where everyone's like, dang, you're moving. Here, if you're going sub 25, you're flying to the moon. You know what I mean? Even these enthusiast class cars going in the low 30s is incredible. Shows the technology of cars, technology of tires, shows all of that. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you what, Alex is with Check 6 is cutting some serious laps in that 350Z.
That's someone that's had a LS Swap Z for years, and he has it all ironed out.
Yeah.
Alex Gallardo, super nice guy. I mean, everyone they work with, him and Jason Guzman usually pit with each other. Same team, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
I love Jason Guzman because every time he wins, he does a backflip off his wing.
Yeah.
Just going to throw that out there, okay?
Jason, can we get that even if you podium?
I want a backflip off the wing on the podium ceremony. He'll do it, though, actually, so I don't even have to ask. Truth be told, though, these guys out here are guys and gals out here are pushing hard for all of these reasons. Now, obviously, with the super fast run group, this is what you run into. People run minimal. They run less laps. They just don't have the ability to keep going. But a Ferris, a 1:17.725, we have to give nothing but respect to that.
Ridiculous.
That's incredibly fast lap time. So big shout out to Ferris and his team. Jackie Ding, 1:27.4. We hope you come back out and are able to set a faster lap. If not, it has been a damn pleasure watching what you've done with that A90 Supra. We can only look forward to what you're going to do with the M2.
Yeah, I saw, Mike Osborne was in this run group. We do some work on his car as well. He's got a, brand new aero package front to back from us on the car. And I saw him cutting some laps. Hopefully everything's all good. I know he's getting used to the car. It's obviously feels a lot different with some big aero on it. But
Is this his first time driving a big aero GTR?
Yes.
Was it a minimal aero car before?
Yeah, all he had on it before was a wing and a pretty small front
Little
splitter.
baby, like APR style bolt-on kind of thing?
Yeah, we did a pretty big front splitter, pretty big canards.
Do you know what his fastest lap was before? Did he ever tell you?
I think he's actually ran a faster lap, but I think he's just kind of getting acquainted with the aero. And one thing he was saying that
he's doing a 32. You're not by any means going slow doing a 32.26.
And I think he's just trying to get used to it. I do feel like he doesn't probably have the right spring rate on the car, so he's dragging kind of side skirts and stuff like that. So I think he needs.
He ran a 31.5 this session. He's gone faster than he has all event. Like you said,
that's good. He's getting comfortable.
There's a lot of things that come with new aero. People will put big splitter, big wing on a car, not change spring rate, and all of a sudden you're porpoising everywhere and you're dragging the splitter on the front straights. Seeing sparks looks cool for spectators. It's not so cool for performance.
Man, that's always scared me. People put titanium pucks, and I'm just like, titanium and sparks and leak. I don't know. I've never seen a car catch on fire from that, but I'm not trying to tempt
people
fate
live
either.
for. I'm sorry, man. I'm a fanboy too. Because let's say your car is about to drag for that 3 milliseconds at the end of the straight, you're not going to change your spring rate for that. But you also don't want to destroy that splitter you spent $1 million on either.
True. Yeah. But it's good to see Mike out there cutting some laps. He's looking good. I know I think he told me he has not been in a car since the event last year.
That's awesome to hear, man.
So it looks like he's running pretty quick.
We wish that he'd been able to get a little bit more seat time in it before to maybe go a little faster, but realistically, getting a lap time like that is obnoxiously fast. Now, what we are going to do is that's going to be the end of this session. So let's throw the schedule up for the rest of the day. This is session 2. We are still going to have one more session. This is going to be our lunch break. So we will be back in 35 minutes at 11:50. 11:50 to 12:55 is going to be the final session. Then at 1 o'clock, we'll have the podium ceremony for all these drivers that have worked hard. I do want to give a big shout out to Sean up here. Thank you so much for coming up and talking with us. It's been a big pleasure. And to anyone out there, make sure you keep track, turn on your notifications on YouTube. We will be live again in 30 minutes. And if you're trying to catch anything that happened earlier in these sessions or yesterday, make sure that you go ahead and go watch yesterday's stream. Go to racehero.io or download the Race Hero app to go ahead and see previous times and to see how everyone's gridded for after lunch, okay? So, Sean, big shout out. Thanks for coming up here, all right?
Yeah, man.